We are now live. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm not going to sing.
Good
Um,
morning. Good morning.
this is our earliest Tasty Gents recording to date.
I was about to say, good morning is appropriate because yes, it is 4 a.m.
It is 4 a.m. We have stayed up all night
We have,
working with our script writers to come
we
up with
have
the show.
exactly. Well, it's 4 a.m. somewhere, but it's not 4 a.m. at my house.
No, not yet.
Um,
Well, yeah. And I am, by the way, something we haven't done in a while. We
yes,
are doing a complete Zoom, and
right.
I am, in fact, remote as I am coming to you from Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington,
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite of the Washingtons.
Yeah.
Um, So that's right. We haven't done a virtual in a while. We've been sitting across the table from each other. What is happening right now that got you to Seattle, Washington, Jonathan Addington?
Well, as you predicted, I am on the run.
Yes,
And no,
it was bound to happen eventually.
it
Yeah.
was bound to happen. No, we have and I did a Facebook post about this, but not in Tasty Gents, just in my personal thing. But we have I came up to drive our son Bjorn off to drop him off at Central Washington University. He
Woo!
will finish out his last 2 years for his computer science degree, living on campus, living the college dream, doing all the college things that they don't want to tell us about,
Of course. Yeah, yeah.
but
Sweetest,
we're happy to do
nicest, funniest kid. I am so happy. Kid. He's like 30 now, isn't he? I don't even know.
it. He's 20, 30.
All right,
No,
20,
he's
whatever.
21. Yeah.
That is very
Yes,
cool. I'm really glad to hear that he's made that leap.
we're excited. He had and just to give you a little perspective, because he was in community college, and he would drive 3 hours a day from where he could live at our place for free to the community college is an hour and a half each way. And there's a bridge and a toll and everything else involved. And then he would drive home. And where he lives just off campus is literally just off campus. So from his door, I could throw a rock and hit campus.
Wow.
I won't because I think they'd frown on that.
They
But
would.
you
Yeah.
can it's literally right across the street. He does not have to drive ever again for like the next 2 years at all. So he's excited. I'm excited for all the gas money I'm about to save. It's
Yes.
yeah, it's good news.
That is so very cool. I love
Yeah,
that. And then
yeah.
you've delivered him now. The delivery is done. The package
Delivered the
has been dropped
package has
off.
been delivered. The Eagle has landed.
Eagles
Yes.
landed.
Well, we drove his car up there, and shout out to public transportation.
Mm,
Um, in every other country except the US. So,
yeah.
we drove his car over so he would have it, and then I took, and I won't go into the complete story, but I arranged for bus service. The bus got close, but never actually came to where I was, because of, a series of unfortunate events. And then, I had to arrange for another bus that night, last
Mm,
minute, got on the Greyhound, last seat,
mm,
last seat for a reason.
mm.
My bus partner was gave me an opportunity to practice patience like I haven't had in a long time.
What a gift. What a
What a
gift.
gift! So
Yeah,
2 hours of full on patience practice
I feel
for
you.
me. I
For
came
you,
out better.
yay. You're
Yeah.
better. So what I'm hearing is that you had an experience that resulted in you becoming a better person, if that was even possible at
Eh,
this point.
well, and apparently it was possible. Yeah,
Nice.
and also an opportunity for me to be able to watch what happens to food as it's chewed.
Mm.
Because, as an open mouthed chewer, uh,
Ah,
it was evident what happens to a Subway sandwich as it gets
an
masticated.
open mouth chewer. That's a tough gig in a seatmate. Um, I had a bus experience, what is now a number of years ago, that I'll just share
Oh,
briefly,
please.
because it deserves its own, I don't know, its own documentary probably.
Oh, boy.
Um, 9/11, as you may recall, is
Mm,
a tragedy in the United States
yeah.
when airplanes crashed into buildings in New York City. I was in that area when it happened
Oh,
and couldn't get home to Seattle. So I ended up driving a rental car from Paramus, New Jersey to Chicago, and
mhm,
in Chicago catching the train, and then took the
yeah,
train from Chicago to Seattle.
yeah.
And so 2 days on the train with a lot of other people who were much more accustomed to flying, as well as I was.
Yeah.
Um, and employees of the train system that were not accustomed to people like me who were accustomed to flying.
Yeah.
And then people who were used to getting on buses and traveling that way. It was a very interesting mix of humanity over that 2 days. And it also gave me some opportunity to grow as a person. So
Yeah, and I found there's a really easy way to distinguish quite a bit of that. You have and not to generalize too much, but you have people who wear knives on their belts
yes,
and those who do not.
right. Yes.
And I think that that is a line that might be a delimiter between.
I think I could see that. And you and I are the non-knife belt wearing part of that. At least that's what I believe about you.
That's true. I always carry, but
Mm,
you'll never find it.
yes. Got it. I like to carry my knife strapped to my back. Like it's actually not a knife so much as it is a broadsword. And so I
Very
have
nice.
broadsword as you can, yeah, in the video you can see right now.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
listener,
always
for
thought you
those of
had a
you who are
hump.
listening.
Yeah. I just thought you had a hump, but no, it's okay.
It's
I didn't
broadsword.
want to say anything.
It's awkward. I'm very sensitive about my hump. Um, well, I'm
Okay.
glad you're back. I'm glad,
Yes.
well, you're back in Seattle. I'm glad Bjorn is delivered.
Yes. And
Any
so Bjorn is
insights into
delivered.
college life?
Is it what?
Any insights into college life that you want to share?
Oh, well, so so we dropped him off, and he's 21, and he's sharing it's a duplex, and then each side of the duplex has two rooms, a little Jack and Jill bathroom, a little
Okay.
kitchen, things like that.
What's
And
a
I
Jack and
walk
Jill
in.
bathroom?
That just means that there's one bathroom, and each bedroom is on either side of the bathroom. There's a
Oh,
door, so they
got
share a bathroom. They each have a
it.
door that goes into it, and that's
Got it.
and from what I've learned from the home improvement shows, that's called a Jack and Jill bathroom.
Got it.
Um,
All right.
yeah, so I paid attention. Anyway, so they've got that, and then that is the layout. Everything else about this is like a tornado of trash
Oh my.
and used pots and
Oh my.
clothes have hit this inside. I walked in, and you know how your sense of smell helps with your sense of taste?
Yes.
I'm concerned for our youth because I
Mm.
walked in, and granted it was after dinner time. We had to check in late. It was like 7 o'clock at night. And the door opens and I walk in, and I have competing smells of Hamburger Helper and Axe body spray
Ouch. Oh, that
from
burns.
and I didn't know which one was going to win. And then I'm thinking to myself, and this was a theme. So over the course of the 2 days that I was there helping him get set up, and he had classes, and we met, and we went to the student union so we could buy shirts and get, rah rah, go Wildcats, all that stuff. We walk in, and they have a student union, and they have a bakery and a coffee shop. It's very nice, really, and all these things and there's a creamery, so there's ice cream and all the things that you would want. And I walk in, and again, it is croissants and Axe body spray. So I think that we have a generation of youth who are not going to know what things taste like without Axe body spray, because they will eventually, I hope, outgrow that body spray and move into adult smells
I would
like
hope so.
colognes and things. And then they'll eat a croissant. They're like, this was better in college. Like, for whatever, like they'll have this memory of it
It's
tasting more like.
nostalgia. Yes.
Yeah, and Axe is just the smell of desperate youth.
It
It's
is. I thought
yeah.
Axe body spray had gone away.
No,
It turns out it's alive and well.
yes, I thought it had gone away. And I remember when Bjorn was very young and like in middle school, and like the kids the joke was, because you have a spray can, is that they would do Axe body spray bombs, and they would tape it and throw it into a room, and it would just fill a room with Axe body spray and tee hee hee. What we used to do with these little pellets that were fart bombs, they now do with Axe body spray. And I think I would take the fart smell any day
Exactly.
over the Axe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would feel like the fart smell would dissipate more quickly. I feel like Axe body spray has a half-life of a generation.
Well, at least the fart smell, you could laugh.
Yes.
It's yeah, that's another thing with Axe. You're like, come on.
Yeah.
It's never coming out. Yeah, yeah. We had the half-life. That's right. Yeah, it's like a nuclear thing.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a
Anyway,
lot.
so that's it. So that's my thing is as I know that there is a culinary school there, and I think that we're going to start in the next generation or two, the next 10, maybe 15 years, seeing restaurants that serve food that then tastes somewhat like Axe body spray.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
I will do
That's my
everything
prediction.
to avoid those restaurants because that sounds awful.
It's gonna be.
So the other thing happening out in the world, you may not have noticed because you've got a lot going on. The holidays have ended. They're gone.
What?
The Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, Bacchanal
Kwanzaa,
that has been
yes.
going on for the past seemingly years is
Yeah.
over.
It is over.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad it's gone.
I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is when we start burning Christmas trees, real or fake.
exactly. Yes, good
Yeah.
point. You did some cool things for New Year's, and I did as well. Tell me about your New Year's.
Yeah, well, so there's a restaurant that I would have given 50-50 reviews on most of the time called Booze Hounds. And it's named that because they have booze and you're allowed to bring your dog.
True.
And I always thought, and it's right up from the street from us, right? So it's very close. And it may not even be a mile away. It's like very close.
Right. Yep.
So Andrea and I had some friends in town from Seattle, and there was a group of like 4 of them, and they were like, and they were living just they were staying at an Airbnb just down the road. They thought we can walk, and
Yeah.
Andrea and I weren't going to walk because she was in heels, so we thought we'll take an Uber. But I mean, New Year's Eve, Uber, less than a mile away. What is that? $100? Yeah, it's like
$100, easy.
So
Yeah.
easy. Yeah. So it was like that. Yeah. It would have been cheaper to take a helicopter, I think. But anyway, so we get there, and we were a little on the fence about whether or not we're going to spend the money because it was $100 a head, but it came with with drinks and with a couple of drinks and a couple of things. And you and I have both been to this place, and the food is good, but not as good as the prices would indicate it should be. So it's
Well said.
overpriced.
Yep. Well said. Yep.
And I always think well cooked, but horribly underseasoned, like every
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
we walk in, and and the wonderful thing about having a low bar is everyone meets it. So
That's true.
and but even if my bar were very high for this party, they would have absolutely blown it away. So it was a French masquerade ball theme.
Ooh.
And I, of course, have no French masquerade ball clothes.
I've never noticed that about you. Yeah.
No, not at all. No. I mean, I'm big into wigs, but I don't have anyway. So but we did dress up, and we went. We walk in, and they handed us, and everybody that was working on staff dressed to the nines. The women with the big wigs, powdered
Really?
faces, the things, the beauty marks, all the men with the high socks and the pants and the things and the wigs, and they all had the makeup on, and everyone looked great. And they would greet you in, and they would announce you at the door as the esteemed Mr. and Mrs. Addington, and we're like, this is great, and then they handed you this greeting little drink, this little cocktail. Excuse me. That's my winter cold. I'm just getting over a cold, so I apologize if I cough a little bit. So this winter drink, and then it was just, I have the perfect analogy. And for anyone who hasn't read this book, you won't get it. But you and I just finished a book called The Night Circus.
We did.
We basically walked into the night circus.
Oh, you're kidding.
They had dancers. They had acrobats. They had fire spinners. They had contortionists. They had a photo booth with all the things that you would want in a photo booth, right next to a real tattoo artist giving real tattoos.
You're kidding.
I am not kidding. They had all sorts of things. I don't know. I mean, and in the square footage of this place, you can imagine that's a lot to pack in.
Yeah.
And then they had all the staff, and then they had people who were on staff who were dressed up, who were just there for you to approach and take photos with. And they weren't doing anything else. They were just women who were looking beautiful, or men who were, and they would do these, what I would only assume, because I wouldn't know any better, were like traditional, like old turn of the century dances. And it was just neat. They nailed it. So for all the things that I didn't like about Booze Hounds,
Yeah.
whatever their day to day, whoever manages that,
Sure.
Their party planner nails it. So
That's
that's it.
amazing. Now,
It was
and
amazing.
similar, like I've been to Booze Hounds a couple of times and, you know,
Mhm.
since they opened up and been over there with my dog, Charlie Brown, because that's super fun.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they were having a hard time figuring out who they wanted to be. So when I first
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
across them, as you say, they're really close, so it's great. They were open in the morning and they had pastries, they had an espresso machine, and they've got a really cool bar. And so I would sit at their really cool bar and get a pastry and an espresso, which are both things that I love. Charlie Brown would hang out by my feet and I would do some writing. That's a favorite thing I love to do in the morning. And then
Mhm.
the next time I tried to go, espresso machine is gone, pastries are gone, they don't open until 11. And then it was sort of Mediterranean tapas and like
Yeah.
couches that are hard to get out of if you have a bad knee, right? So then
Yes.
that
Yes.
that was the theme for a while, and I was like, well, okay. And then there was another theme that I lost track of. So I haven't been for a while, but good heavens, that sounds amazing.
It was. And then at $100 a head, I'm thinking, this is great. They had a tub of ice, and in the tub they had like hard like lemonades, like hard lemonades,
Yeah.
um, for free.
Oh my gosh.
So I didn't buy a drink all night.
$100, but you're drinking for free? What?
I know. Where do you get that? You don't.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. And I think I danced with, I mean, inappropriately with lots of people.
As
And
you
it
should.
was,
As you
well,
should.
it's the only way I know how to dance. It's actually been awkward my whole life.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't get invited to weddings anymore because you only know how to dance
Or
inappropriately.
funerals. Yeah. I don't get invited to wakes. You're like, this is not dancing. What do you?
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
one
there's
person's
it's
grandmother
organ
really
music.
hasn't been the same since. Yeah. I had a very different New Year's
Yeah,
Eve
what
than
are yours?
so I did two things that were really fun. You know, I will preface this, as you know, by saying for our one listener who's, you know, desperately trying to find something else to do right now. I am not a late night guy. I am typically in bed around 9 or 9:30, which means I'm typically up around 5:30 or 6. And so I just don't like staying up late. It's a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I did not plan a whole lot for New Year's, but went to a restaurant with a friend, one of our neighbors,
Mhm.
Arthur. He told me about this restaurant and we both went, called La Copine. And it is in
Ooh.
Yucca Valley in California. And so for those of you who haven't been here, so we live in Palm Springs, California, which is in Coachella Valley. And if you head east from here, say toward Joshua Tree National Park, which is one of my favorite places to go, you basically go through a relatively empty part of California on Route 62. You go through Morongo Valley and you go through up into Yucca Valley, and then there's
Mhm,
another valley after
mhm.
that. Well, you know, this restaurant is sort of you head up 62 as if you're going to Joshua Tree,
Yeah,
make
yeah.
a left somewhere in the middle and head into the middle of nowhere
Hmm.
toward Pioneer Town, which is a
Oh,
cool
yeah, that's
spot,
fun.
but there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
And you're sort of driving along in the middle of nowhere, and then there's a restaurant on the left called La Copine. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And so this restaurant, so they do take reservations and they do take walk-ins, but there's no online reservations. You
Hmm.
send them an email and they will get back to you within a few days. They are typically 4 weeks out
Oh
to get a
my.
reservation, so not an easy thing at all. Arthur managed to get us one in, I think, just 2 weeks out, but generally about 4 weeks out. Um, but it's a bit archaic. Again, you sort of send an email and you wait for a response, and they say on their website, if you email again to inquire about the first email, it drops you to the bottom of the list.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
So they're not playing at La Copine. But we get there. So it's a very small place. It was chilly, so we opted to sit inside. There's maybe seating for 20 people, maybe 25 inside, and seating for another 20 outside on the patio.
Yeah.
Um, so some of the things on the menu that we tried, Arthur got a cocktail. He got a kind of a mimosa-ish cocktail. I don't drink alcohol, as you know. I had the most amazing thing. They called it sangrita, and it was
Ooh.
essentially tomato juice and some sort of citrus juice and ancho chili. So it had a little bite to it,
Oh,
but gosh, it was good.
yeah.
So had that, and then things that I got. They had sunchoke latkes with
Huh.
smoked salmon and braised greens with creme fraiche and capers. It was amazing.
Oh my goodness.
We got some fried potatoes with an amazing sauce on them. We got some fried eggplant with a wonderful marinara that was really good. Arthur
Mm,
got a duck confit that was very good, and then we got beignets for dessert. So we just went
come
crazy and
on.
ate a million things.
Yeah.
But they were all very good. It had this amazing vibe of like, I don't know, like LA comes to the desert. So
Yeah.
people look
Yeah.
like they were relatively well put together, but there's, sort of puffy jackets and knit caps,
Yeah.
plate just right,
Yeah.
over
Very
glasses
hip.
and
Very
very
hip
trendy
people.
glasses.
Yeah.
But the wait staff were amazing. They were on it. They moved quickly. Food came out quickly. Everything was really good. They were knowledgeable. This place is a win across the board. I can't wait to go back.
And so La Copine.
La
That's good.
Copine. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that French for the grumpy people? Is that
It's French for you're gonna wait 4 weeks for a
you're gonna
reservation,
wait four
I
weeks?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or,
Yeah.
or French for it's colder in December than you probably realized. You should wear a puffy jacket.
You should wear a puppy jacket. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? Also, kudos to them. Who opens a restaurant in any place called Yucca? But
Right.
still, I know.
Exactly. Yep. Right there in Yucca.
Yeah.
So did that during the day, got back it was sort of brunch. Oh, that's the other thing. They're only open from 11 to 4. Only
Oh,
from
that's
11 to 4. So yeah, so
well,
you're
as
you're there for brunch or you ain't going. Yeah, they're not playing at La
yeah,
Copine.
they're basically like a high-end version of a bank. It's their
Yes.
hours, it's their time, it's
That's
your
it.
money, but
You are there
good
because
luck.
they are going to allow you to be there. So yeah, very good. Can't wait to go. Would love to go with you guys. So
Oh
then
my
got
God.
home, took a nap as one does.
Sure.
So New Year's Eve day, and again, I'm not. I talked to some friends about going out. Now it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm having a nap. I'm not going anywhere. But I'm in the hot tub because we have a hot tub,
Sure.
and a couple of our neighbors are walking by, walking their dogs, and I'm chatting with them as they walk by, and they
Mhm.
say, "Hey, we're going to go and get nachos down at Black Book, which is a gay bar down where on Arenas, where the gay
Oh,
bars are." So they're like, "You want to go with us?" I'm like, "Yes." Dinner at 5 on New Year's Eve. This is absolutely my speed.
perfect.
So we show up at 5. Arenas is kind of quiet because everybody who does things for New Year's Eve is still asleep, frankly.
Right, right.
Um, but we hang out, we chat with each other, we chat with some people, we have that experience that you have when you're having nachos basically on the street in
Yeah,
a bar.
yeah.
Um, I was home by 7, watched a movie, lights out at 11. Altogether, a successful New Year's Eve.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Perfect. Yeah.
Did you just hear that?
What was that?
There was a weird noise here in my house. So I have uh, AI devices in my house. I don't want to say her name. If I
Oh
say
yeah.
her name, I get her attention, and I don't want her attention right now. But she just
It's
made a
like
noise.
it's like having a ghost that does not face you until you say her name. And
That's
I'm like, nope,
it.
nope, don't look at me.
Don't look at me. Yep, it's
Nope.
not about you right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, so that was my New Year's Eve. It was all in all a huge success.
I love that, and that's
Yeah.
great. You know, the thing is that the older I get, the less that I care if my idea of what this celebration should look like meets anyone else's.
There you go.
And for so there are some cookie cutter experiences that you can have where you do certain things at certain times and everybody else
Right.
does it. And there is a sense of community in the unity of an experience, but I don't want that. So I want some more unique. No, I mean I like community. It's fine. No, it's not,
Sure. Yeah.
not an issue. But I want some more unique, different experiences. And I wanted to. So for the past 2 years or two times that we had experienced New Year's, we had gone to the casino, which puts on a wonderful show, live music. We had free tickets to the VIP section
Oh,
2 years in a
nice.
row, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And which just means that it's basically the same as the general admission, but they have chairs, which is
Yay for
you're
chairs.
basically paying for the chance to sit down, and
Yes.
I appreciate that.
I'm in.
Everything else is exactly the same. You're actually there's a very thin fence separating the two, and that's it. So, but we did that for 2 years in a row, and that's what we were used to. And now we did something different, and now I think we're always going to do something different because
Love that.
I don't know that I want to keep doing the same experience. It's boring.
It is. Well, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because so thinking about New Year's Eve in general, I love how you're thinking of that, and I love how you want to try new things. I believe, and stay with me here for a minute,
Mhm, mhm.
the classic rom-com When Harry Met Sally
Mm.
ruined New Year's Eve for many of us, because they presented New Year's Eve as that night when you're going to meet your forever person. You know, you're going to have, you're either going to have like the most romantic night possible. At midnight, you're going to kiss the person that is going to change your life forever, you know, or you're going to be, or everyone's going to be fun, and just the amount of joy will be spilling out of you at every moment.
Yeah.
This is not always what New Year's Eve is like.
No.
And I have watched for years, I have watched myself as well, but I've watched people seek that on New Year's Eve. And the way that they've pursued it is the very popular way of pursuing joy with tequila shots.
Oh
And
my.
of course, tequila shots have, or I used to drink a thing called Three Wise Men. Are you familiar with Three Wise Men?
What is this?
Fantastic. I want to say it was Kahlua and Bailey's Irish Cream and 151.
What's
So
one?
yeah, 151 proof rum.
Oh no.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. So Three Wise Men or Jägermeister, another classic
Oh,
way
another classic, sure.
to seek joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sort of turned away from that New Year's Eve experience after many years of waking up on New Year's Day and feeling not just hungover from Three Wise Men and Jägermeister and tequila shots, because good heavens,
Because why not?
why not?
Yeah.
But the, like, you know, once again, New Year's Eve has failed to deliver, you know, the perfect experience that is my right and my due as a New Year's Eve person.
And you know what? The thing is it is 100% possible that movie and that idea absolutely is just one way to look at it. It was one person's one time, and it's a fictional thing. Everybody, and I'll say this, and here, you know, and for anyone who's married to me, listen to this. Sex and the City isn't real. When Harry Met Sally isn't real. These things aren't real. Somebody sat down.
Yes.
And some very smart writers wrote some very smart things that aren't going to come true.
Not true.
And if you're trying to set your life around a fiction,
then
you are perpetually going to be disappointed.
You're going to be sad. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's
unless that fiction is like Star Wars.
So that's
like, because that's the whole, you know, hero villain thing. And that
if
course,
you're going to build your life around Star Wars, you're making good choices.
Now you're making good choices.
Completely agree. I will say though, I like how you described New Year's Eve as this experience, and the French party and the tall wigs and the all of it feels like exactly as you described it, a way to have a really unique experience on New Year's Eve. What a great way to go about that. So
yeah, we liked it.
That idea.
I also wanted to mention one more thing that we did that night prior to it, because they had some past apps at the thing, but we met with and this is kind of exciting for the desert to have. They opened a surf school.
Oh.
And for surfing, yes, like surfing. So they took a defunct water park and converted it for the low price of $80 million into a surf school where they took the wave pool, they reimagined it, rebuilt it, and now there's like a lazy river and all this kind of stuff. They opened for a soft opening on the 31st.
Wow.
To give a prefix menu dinner, and the place went bonkers. So we went with a couple these friends of ours, sat at the table, and then they had young men and women who work there who are surf instructors riding waves. Like, you could just eat dinner and watch people surf in Palm Springs.
Holy mackerel.
Just take that in for a second. So that's what we did. That's where we had dinner. I will say that it was their soft opening, and for a soft opening, well done. Your staff was great. But you were, I would just say, they were obviously overwhelmed. So they didn't expect it. All the drink orders came in at once. All the food orders came in at once. Everything came in at once. So while all of our food that came out was well seasoned, well prepared, was plated in a beautiful way, nothing was hot.
Oh, yeah.
So, and rather than complain and they had one server for the entire
Oh
outdoor
my gosh.
patio. And this gentleman was killing it. Tyrone, if you're listening, I know you're not listening. Well done. You did a great job for your first night. And having worked on that side of the business a little bit, I know your feet must have hurt the next day. So he was hustling. Um, I look forward to seeing how they're going to be in a month.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah.
And there's a couple things I want to say about that. One is I go by there. I've been by there a number of times, and yes, it's a
Mhm,
defunct water park. It's sort of a strange thing. It's next to a golf course,
mhm,
but in the middle of the desert, not a thing that you would expect. And
yeah,
some of the photographs I saw of this opening, it looks amazing. And
yeah.
here's the other cool thing I will say to our listeners as they are realizing that we have, Jonathan, you may not realize it, we have once again burned through
What?
30 minutes of our listeners' lives
Oh,
and our own lives. But I want to say a thing first. This is
okay.
why, listener, your choice to be with the Tasty Gents for the past 30 minutes is exactly the right choice because so I did not know that Booze Hounds, a mile from my house, was going to have an amazing French themed New Year's party
Yeah.
that was not to be missed. I did not know that there was a surf school opening that would have this incredible event for New Year's Eve. I trust Jonathan and Andrea to know when these things are happening and, in fact, to engage with them. I do know when my favorite coffee shop has a new dark roast. Oh,
Mm,
that's the moment you really want to be around. I am regularly trying coffee shops and breakfast places. I am regularly finding new kinds of comfort food. Uh, I'm the guy who's going to tell you that I managed to make tuna noodle casserole in my house with
oh,
crumpled potato chip topping, and exactly like my mom used to make just a few days ago, and it changed my life just a little bit. So your good choice, listeners, at being with the Tasty Gents is that you're going to get a very broad experience of what's happening in Palm Springs these days.
absolutely. And also, tuna noodle casserole is one of my favorite things in the
Oh,
world.
dude.
So
There's this moment,
if
right?
you haven't eaten it all, save me a little piece.
Oof, I haven't, and I will. So there's this moment when you're like, you're on the couch and you're eating chips, right?
Yeah,
Everyone has this moment.
sure,
And you get to
sure.
the bottom of the bag and you see where all the chips are crumbled. And then you sort of like, am I past, like where there's a viable chip here? Is it just chip crumbs and
Yeah,
chip dust
yeah.
left over?
Where am I with
And
this?
then I
Yeah,
think to myself on the couch at 3 o'clock in the afternoon as I'm taking a break from whatever else I'm doing,
yeah.
man, I used to really love when my mom would make tuna noodle casserole and put crumbled potato chips on top. And then my brain, thank you, brain, says, Greg, currently in your home is every ingredient necessary to
Yeah.
make tuna noodle casserole from scratch. No cream of mushroom soup was employed here. Uh,
Ooh,
I had the onion and the celery and the mushrooms and the butter and the milk and the flour and the noodles and the tuna. I got up from the couch, made the casserole, ate probably a third of it that night. It was magic.
amazing. And
Magic.
be honest, did for the chip topping, did you just shake your shirt off
A little bit. Yeah.
onto the
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, because
Yes.
like don't waste that. Don't waste that.
The couch cushions.
Yeah.
Basically, I shook out the couch cushions and sprinkled them across the top and called it done. And
Yeah.
it was my childhood wrapped up into a casserole, and I can't wait to share it with you.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Very
All
cool.
right. With that, I think we have done all the damage that we can do for yet another episode of Tasty.
Another episode, the first episode of the new year.
First episode.
Welcome to a whole new year of us and of you
Yes.
and of all the possibilities.
Thank you.
My only resolution is get some of that tuna noodle casserole.
That's a good one. And I'm going to help you with that resolution. Uh, Listeners, we want to wish you a happy new year. We hope for the best for you in 2024. We, as always, would love to see you on our Facebook page. Love
Mhm.
to hear read technically, your thoughts for what kinds of things we should talk about. And Jonathan, once again, it's an absolute delight hanging out with you today.
Fantastic, Greg. Yeah. And thank you, everyone. Well, we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.